Hey everyone, today I'm going to show you how to get this matte, 3D matte look onto a picture. So here I have a picture that I'm going to put a matte around or frame. I'm not worried about the edges being kind of rough or uneven because I'm going to clean it up anyway. So I have my color picked, I have a brush picked, I've made a new layer by hitting that plus sign up there, and now I'm going to draw a rectangle or a box around my picture where I want the matte to be. And I'm not worried about it being too perfect because I'm going to let Procreate straighten it out for me. I'm just going to resize it a little bit before I stop it, so I'm going to leave it there. Next step, I'm going to draw the outer edge of my matte. So I'm going to do the same thing. Let Procreate straighten it. Now I'm going to fill it in, so I'm just going to tap the color swatch, drag it over, and let it fill in. Now in order to get that 3D look, it's very similar to the way I do a drop shadow. And you can check out my drop shadow video on this channel. There's going to be a link above that you can follow, or just look through my channel at the Procreate tutorial playlist. So I'm going to duplicate this layer, go to the layer underneath. I'm going to go to my effects or adjustments menu and tap Use Saturation and Brightness. I'm going to tap Layer. And for this layer, I'm going to drag the brightness all the way to the right. That will make that layer completely white. I'm going to get my arrow tool, and I'm going to move that layer down and to the right a little bit to give it that little white edge on the inside of the matte. Now you could use a different color. You could use like a lighter gray if you want to be the edge to be a little more pronounced or able to see it better. I'm going to go a little lighter, back to almost a white. Now you can see there's also edge hanging off the outside of my picture, so I'm going to take the eraser and erase that because I don't want it out there. Now I'm going to do the same thing, duplicate that layer again, go to Use Saturation and Brightness, choose Layer. This time I'm going to drag the brightness down. Now I could go all the way to the left, but I'm going to go kind of in a dark gray area, and I've actually forgot to do it on the layer underneath my top layer, which is fine because I can just drag it down underneath. Now it's underneath. So I'm going to go back to that Use Saturation and Brightness, make it a little darker, and I'm going to tap that arrow. This time I'm going to go up and to the left when I move it to make a dark edge on the inside of the matte. Maybe go a little bit higher. So now I have this 3D look going already. First I want to erase that outside edge of the matte. I'm going to zoom in so I can see this corner where it kind of overlaps in a weird way. So I'm going to make my eraser smaller, and I'm going to kind of erase this corner into a diagonal so it looks like a diagonal edge there. Do the same thing down here. Let it go back. And there I have a very simple way to give that 3D look to a matte in my picture. But a lot of mattes are kind of textured, so I want to give a textured feel to the blue matte around my edge. So I'm going to make another new layer, make sure it's above the color layer, so it's on top. I'm going to pick a textured brush. So I'm going to look through my brushes, and I'm going to go with this clay brush. I'm going to select my color of the matte, but I'm going to go a little darker. And I'm going to make this a big brush, but kind of transparent. I'm going to just paint on top of the matte right now. I'm not worried about going outside of the edges. So now you can see it has this kind of textured feel to it. but I have that outside edge, the stuff that kind of went over my mat and inside of my picture. So I'm going to make that a layer mask or a clipping mask. So I'm going to go to my layers. I'm going to tap the thumbnail of that textured layer and select clipping mask. It will instantly get rid of anything that's not outside of the blue on layer 2. And again, you can follow along a tutorial for clipping masks, a more detailed tutorial in the Procreate tutorials playlist. So now I have this textured matte look going on around my picture. I can make another matte if I wanted to. I could draw the frame around my picture. I could print this, trim it, and frame it, and it will have that illusion in the frame of having a kind of a semi-matte look to it, even though it's not a real matte. So there's one more step I'm going to do. I'm going to make this top edge a little darker so it gives it even a more 3D effect. So I'm going to select my color, get a little darker, make sure I'm back to my brush pen or whatever brush you were using, pull the opacity up. I'm going to bring that corner down. And I'm going to draw a straight line over, hold, let Procreate kind of clean it up, get the edge there. So now that top edge has a type of a shadow to it, so it looks a little bit more dimensional. You can do that, you don't have to do that, it's just something, a little touch I wanted to show. So like I said, you can use this to make multiple mattes. You can even use this effect to make a paper cut image, which I'll show you in another video. But for now, hope you like this video. Please subscribe so you don't miss another episode. Comments are welcome, and I'll see you next time.